I was the owner of a housing repairs business when I underwent my first Vanguard intervention. The process encouraged me to get out of my office and go and see what life was like for my customers and staff. What I found there changed my business philosophy for life. I learnt that cost must be viewed end to end rather than per unit, and I now know that economies come from flow, not from scale. Let me give you an example. When I went out in the work with operatives, I was amazed how often they didn't have the right materials on their van. It wasn't from lack of stock either. The vans were just like our kitchen cupboards. A few items at the front that were used regularly, then a whole load of dusty stuff behind them, going out of date. More than that, I couldn't believe how long the operatives then spent shopping for those missing materials around all the trade suppliers. The recurring problem was procurement. Central deals awarded on lowest price meant that operatives were tied to which suppliers they could use. Time and again I saw operatives travel several miles out of their way to get to the specified supplier. They were often travelling past many local suppliers who carried the same stock. We were saving pounds and often just pence on the unit cost of the parts, but blowing tens and hundreds of pounds in travel time and fuel costs. That's why unit cost is important, but never the deciding factor, and central procurement should never preclude local purchasing. Actual cost in this instance is a function of price, availability and distance. What that taught me to do is work on perfecting the flow of a job. The best way to get the right parts to the right place at the right time is to have them on the van. To learn what was needed, I studied this in detail. We learnt to measure all parts usage per operative per day. Using statistical process control, we were able to stock each van against the upper control limit of parts used. The astounding thing for me was that not only did the amount of jobs completed from van stock go from 4 out of 10 to 9 out of 10, but the amount of stock carried by each of our multi-traders dropped from an average of £2,400 to £600. Counterintuitive, but less is indeed more. The next step was to decide what to do with those parts that we couldn't put on a van. We have consistently witnessed operatives spending between an hour and a half to 2 hours a day shopping for materials. What we also saw was that there was often work they needed to get on with even before they had the replacement parts. For instance, if I'm replacing a bath, I have to take out the old one and prep the surfaces before I even need the new one. Why not then leave the operative on site and get a delivery driver to bring the bath to him? The downtime saved by the skilled tradesperson easily outweighs the cost of delivery. The operative simply tells us what he needs and what time he needs it, and we deliver it to him at the exact time he requests. Once we began to try this, we found that demand for deliveries was entirely predictable, and that meant that we could resource against it. Our drivers also deliver out van stock replenishment, so we completely avoid the traditional morning scrum in our stores. Now, rather than measure the hours of downtime shopping, we measure the minutes that our operatives spend waiting for deliveries. This methodology saves around £50,000 each and every year for every 10 operatives that you employ. Once you realise that it's possible to deliver items to an address at a specific time, chosen by the recipient, the possibilities are endless. For instance, who would ever design a delivery service that chooses not to tell the recipient when you're going to turn up and then leave a card instead, asking the customer to drive to an expensive storage depot where you store all of the packages that you failed to deliver? The counterintuitive truth is that asking the customer to choose an exact delivery time to suit them and then striving to meet it will actually cost less and delight the customer. We are just so used to poor service that we think an AM/PM time slot on a day chosen by the delivery company is a treat. It's not. It's the wrong thing righter, and we can do so much better if we start again from scratch and do the right thing for our customers.